Good afternoon. I'm Eric Hughes. I'm also a member of the Minions. So college athletes are often considered to be some of the luckiest students in the world. Most of the time they're attending college on full scholarships that cover all of the school's expenses. These can include room, tuition, board, and things of that such. Not only this, but these same college athletes have the opportunity to make the name for themselves in the sports world nationally, such as the Heisman Watch and other awards like that. For some, the participation in intercollegiate athletics acts as a chance to prepare themselves for the professionals. Out of all the support that the NCAA and respective colleges and universities give to student athletes, they're still missing out on one crucial thing: paying them. These athletes deserve to be compensated for all the benefits that they help bring to their school and the strict demands that are placed on them throughout their years. So, with that being said, it is no secret that college athletics helps to bring in thousands, if not millions, of dollars to respective universities nationwide. Just a small portion of these large sums of revenue that student athletes help to bring in gets distributed back to them. According to Steve Berkowitz of USA Today Sports, the NCAA racked in $989 million in total revenue in 2014. After accounting for expenses, they still had $80.5 million, 20 million more than what they had in 2013. With that money, it doesn't get directly paid to students, but rather distributed to academic and athletic needs of universities all across the nation. CBS and Turner Broadcasting, most known for their coverage of the Division I men's basketball tournament, exceeded $700 million in 2014. So it's just again saying that the athletes that are actually competing in these athletic events, the NCAA is essentially making money off of them, and then they're not getting direct return. Some law experts, like Mark Edelman, an associate professor of law at the City University in New York, stated, "Every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce is declared to be illegal. Thus, these students qualify for that." Robert McCormick, an attorney for the National Labor Relations Board, talks about student athletes again, saying laborers, in terms of the physical demands on them, while they're also trying to go to school and being required to go to school, can constitute and violate the Sherman Antitrust Act. And the people that support not paying student athletes say that by paying them, you'll remove the competitive aspect of the sports, see less participation in class, and also see less participation in class, and also equally represent, and there's no way to equally represent the difference between male revenue and women revenue. Besides being legally entitled to the money, student athletes also deserve to be paid because of the harsh and demanding schedules associated with participating in collegiate sports. Business Insider states that the NCAA restricts students to 20 hours a day. However, there are many loopholes in that. For me personally, I know that there are voluntary weights, film, and game days can only top out at 3 days max per day, not even including travel if you have to travel all the way across the nation, take a plane flight to Florida, or whatever it may be. In that same study, student athletes have said that they spend at least 30 hours a week practicing, with some practicing for more than 40 hours. 3 main sports for men and the 2 main sports for women. So the men, baseball, on average practice 42 hours a week, basketball 39 hours a week, and football 43. Women's basketball comes in at 38 hours per week, while softball also has 40 hours. According to the NCAA's official website, there are roughly more than 460,000 student athletes who compete at all 3 of the division levels. In 2011, a report entitled "The Price of Poverty in Big-Time College Sports" confirms that 85% of these college athletes are living below or at the poverty line. This means that nearly 400,000 of them come from a family struggling to stay afloat. So with that, the long practice hours and the demand that the schedules have on them makes it nearly impossible for these students to find a job. If they do, it's usually part-time and just enough to cover the simplest expenses such as eating, going to a movie with friends, and things that can impact their social life. So the NCAA paying these students is not only providing the opportunity for these athletes to earn and save money for themselves, but also is supporting the NCAA's image and helping student athletes in their health and well-being in all areas of life as well. Not only will paying student athletes help them and their families, but it could also result in higher graduation rates as athletes are going to be able to stay longer in school. By offering student athletes pay, you are further incentivizing them to stay an extra year. For instance, if you're a major prospect and you have that chance to return to college or go to the NBA draft, NFL draft, MLB draft, or whatever it may be, and you're kind of on the fence, you're not going to be a first-round draft pick, you're going to be more towards the middle of the pack. If you know that you're going to be at least receive some sort of compensation, you may come back to class, which will increase graduation rates and things of that such. The NCAA actually has a say where 40% of the way, you have to be 40% of the way to your degree after your second year, 60% after your third, and then 80% after your fourth. And then just recently, the NCAA passed the APR system, and essentially what that is it takes all players that are on full scholarship. So for instance, if you have 10 players that are on full scholarship, one of them drops out or becomes ineligible, you would divide that number by the total students and then times that by 1,000, and that number has to be greater than or equal to 925. So the things of that nature needs to be in place to further graduate and make sure the students are actually going to class and actually learning. And students who are on the, this again just reiterates that students who are on the fence and leaving for the draft could reconsider going back to school, as well as helping them prepare and learn the education that's needed for a job, because less than 2% of college athletes are actually going to go on to become professionals. So this leads me to my conclusion. The topic of paying student athletes has been a heavily debated issue, as there are both positive and negative effects to both sides. However, by denying college athletes pay, you are denying them of money that they have a right to claim, and this could be in violation of the law. Going along with this, by compensating student athletes, the NCAA would become a more likable association to the public eye, as it would show that they are committed to the health and well-being of these student athletes. Although no specific method has been found to compensate student athletes equally and proportionally to their respective sports, it is definitely something that needs to be done so that student athletes can finally receive some of the revenue that they help generate for the NCAA year in and year out. That's all I have to say.